As we begin Black History Month here at Way 31, we are honoring some of the pioneers that helped shape North Alabama, the state, and the country.
Our month-long coverage begins with a towering figure here in Huntsville, Professor William Hooper Councill. Here's a look back on the storied educator and orator.
Dr. William Hooper Councill was a trailblazing author and an educator who is honored with not one, but two statues in Huntsville. His story starts, as did many who were born in the 1800s, as an enslaved boy. His parents were slaves on the Councill plantation in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He was born there on July 12, 1849. He and his mother were sold to a Huntsville attorney and enslaver David Humphrey in 1857. When Union soldiers occupied Chattanooga, they escaped to the north. Councill returned to Huntsville after the war in 1865 and received his only education at a school for freedmen in Jackson County. And with just 3 years of formal schooling under his belt, he opened the Lincoln School in Huntsville for black children.
He partnered with Reuben Jones, who was one of the first legislators in Alabama. It was that connection where Councill realized that he needed to have deep political roots in order to establish a sustainable education for freedmen now in Alabama.
Eddie Davis Jr. literally wrote the book on Dr. Councill and graduated from Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University, the current iteration of another school Councill helped start. Back then, it was called the Colored Normal School at Huntsville.
He wanted to make sure that they still were sufficient in agriculture. He wanted to make sure they were still sufficient in the mechanical arts. Things they had mastered on the slave plantation, now free, he wanted to make sure that they could also monetize on the master craft that they had already developed years past.
Last year, Prentice Hall was demolished and it created a space around the area where William Hooper Councill is buried. And later this year, a new memorial will be erected that will honor Councill's legacy and life and will include an eternal flame.
But Councill was accomplished far beyond his local work and education. In 1893, he gave a speech at the Columbian World Expo in Chicago that catapulted him onto the global stage.
The oppression that he experienced, he used it as a block to build upon. And from that, he became an international orator who would grasp and gain the attention of the world during that period.
Councill would use his platform to speak on behalf of the potential of black men and women, arguing that given the opportunity for education and the ability to advance, they too could prosper as he had.
Councill died in 1909 at the age of 61. That memorial we mentioned is expected to be completed in September of this year.